Welcome back. Welcome back.
What's going
Pivot,
on?
Pivot and Proceed community. I want to jump right in because we're going to do a little bit different today. I got a question, right? I got a question. We were just talking about like commitment, the Roosevelt, and a few different things. And Zuri, you said something. You said something. Pain. You said like we don't know what pain people are connected to. And whether you're listening in the car or you're listening at your house, I want you asking yourself this same question as well. When we're talking about relationships and pivoting and proceeding, has heartbreak been productive for you?
Bro, it is so funny you're talking about this today. Like literally, I had this thought not even 3 hours ago. I was just like, sometimes I mentally prepare myself for a breakup, and I get excited because I'm like, I'm finna cook on the other side of this shit. Like,
you gonna miss me.
Well, not even, I don't do it in the vindictive way or in the like, you gonna remember. Like, I just do it in the sense that like, when you're in a relationship, when you're in a situationship, it's a trade-off of energy, it's a trade-off of time. And what you get back from that, if it's a healthy relationship, situationship, is fulfillment. You get love, you get experiences. But I don't know, there's no but there. Like, I'm not going to put a caveat like that. That's a good thing. I think when I've come off of a breakup, there's usually like some things that I've been wanting to get to, but I've been giving up that time or pouring it into the relationship. You know, and the relationship has been requiring me to sacrifice things in my personal life that I don't really want to, but you know, it's a give and it's a take. So yeah, when I've thought about the prospect of breaking up, like I'm like, bet, like I'm finna get busy. Like now, like, I don't know, like in my experience, when I do hit the streets, like when I do get free, it doesn't always play out in my head how like I thought it was gonna play out. I'm like, oh, I'm finna be focused. I'm finna write a whole book. I'm finna like build a whole company. Right. I'll be right back at the bar like 2 weeks later, like a month later, like
trying to get somebody a drink.
Trying to get mine off, you know. So I don't know. Like the short answer is yes. Like that shit has got me in a space. Yeah.
Zuri,
man, listen. It's so crazy you asked this because Kamau, you actually just tweeted something that made me think about how productive I am coming out of relationships. Now, I probably won't quote your entire tweet verbatim, but you were speaking of how you are happy that you deleted social media after you left grade school or just a while back because you wanted a clean slate, right? It's so crazy because with this question, the short answer is yes, right? Heartbreaks are very productive for me. I had the worst heartbreak. I was young, but I had the worst heartbreak that lasted like 6 years after high school. Like I swear to God. It's so crazy because right before, so I graduated Mays High School in 2013. Yeah, 2013.
That's right.
That breakup would happen 2012. And a year later when I lived in Atlanta and I went to Florida for school, I deleted all social media. Like that's how heartbroken I was. I didn't know. See, when I deleted social media on the other side, I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm about to cook. I'm about to get into college. I'm just about to elevate. I wasn't thinking that. I literally just wanted to fall off the face of the earth because that's really honestly how hurt I was. But on the other side of that heartbreak, I started cooking unintentionally. I went to FAMU. I didn't have any social media that followed me. I didn't have Twitter. I didn't have Instagram. I didn't have Snapchat. I didn't have any digital footprint for like 3 years in college. When I tell you that was such a blessing in disguise because I wasn't tied to a digital, platform showing people back home what I was doing. If you knew me in Florida, which I went to Florida and only one person in the entire probably state knew me, right? Because I was a Georgia girl for so long. And when I got there, of course, I had fun, right? But the other side of it, I started to really look within again, unintentionally, right? Kamau was just joking that I'm an entirely different person from high school than I am now. Legit, I am. Right? Like in high school, grade school, I was oblivious to what really life was and, the makings of it and what you do to be yourself. In college, it's like God just like heartbreak. And then he was like, I will strip all this away from you and you just be you, Zuri. And it was so beautiful, in that connotation to be heartbroken and to not even want to be seen by people who knew me. And then in Florida, I wasn't another person. I just stepped into who I was. And on the other side of that, I started cooking with my major being construction and business to I had an internship being flown out literally every semester because all I was doing was head down, studying, head down, partying. That's it. Studying and partying and networking. And so to wrap this up, yes, like heartbreak it can be awesome. I would never want to go through it again, but I've had a great experience with being heartbroken before.
Yo, yeah. See, this is why we together on this platform. This is why we pivot and proceed. And hopefully the listener is listening to themselves and asking themselves the same question. One, like, has it been productive? And if it has, welcome to the fold. We all fitting in. It's like and those of you that haven't, you look back and you say, these heartbreaks come with me. Hey, let's look forward to the next heartbreak. Like Kamau. Think like, ooh,
chill,
that rejection.
chill.
If I'm gonna do anything with it, hey, we gonna cook with it. Because it's gonna happen anyway. It's just about making it useful. So hopefully this is a question we can discuss more because it's really part of the culture. We all know that we're gonna have these moments that we're gonna have heartbreak, and it's like, what do you do with it? So that being said, that's the intro question. We're going to glide into the culture segment, right? So more on the culture. Zuri, go ahead and lead us into that thing.
For sure. My pleasure. So the first segment is named Pivot into Purpose. This is your first time or 10th time listening. Pivot into Purpose is a segment where we invite the culture into our brand of Pivot and Proceed. A lot of times when you listen to this podcast, us three co-hosts, we talk about our own stories. We talk about how we've maybe been forced to pivot or we've chosen to pivot, but we also found a proceed on the other side of that pivot. Today, I want to talk about someone in the culture who has been making, glides for decades in TV and film. Her name is Michael Hyatt. She played Sissy Saint on the show Snowfall. Snowfall was created by the late, great, rest in peace, John Singleton. Why this story of Michael Hyatt is so powerful is because Michael Hyatt found her voice while recording on the set of Snowfall, all because the creator, John Singleton, showed his want and his need and his voice and his confidence in rooms where he was not the majority to make sure that Black neighborhoods, specifically in Los Angeles, were being portrayed correctly, right, on the screen. And Michael Hyatt, being one of his actresses, found her voice and found her confidence while pivoting into her purpose. And what I want to talk about today and what I want the listeners to really marinate on is a voice of confidence being delayed while pivoting into your purpose. And what I want to challenge my co-host with today in this segment is to really let this story fill you up. And I want to ask the question, what happens when you lose your voice and you lose your confidence and you are fighting to be seen and you are fighting to be heard, all while pivoting into your God-given purpose?
Yeesh. First of all, shout out to Franklin Mama, Sissy, Snowfall. Yeah, just because what it really makes me think of is just Black women in general, right? She's a heavy set, dark-skinned Black woman in film industry. Oh man, because all of they code with it. They have to, and it's just so funny when you look at some of their backgrounds and every single skill set, every single schooling you can have, a lot of them have it already. So you can't even say that they're not like fully prepared, or they don't have the background, they don't have the skill set. It's just opportunity. And what it made me think about is when it's finding your voice. Franklin said this, I keep calling him Franklin, Damson Idris said this in an interview. He said film, and I think the same thing, finding your voice. He said it's a lot like sports. Sometimes you know you're him, you know you're her, but you just got to sit on the bench and wait. You got to wait for that moment. You got to wait for somebody to get hurt. You got to wait for somebody else to not want to do it. You just got to wait. He said, but when you get in that game, you better Tom Brady it. You better deliver. Right? So have what you want to say. It should be sitting in your soul already. And this one quote that I really, and I was just saying this to myself earlier today. Mike Tyson said this. He said, when the universe puts the light on you, there's nothing more powerful than a person whose time has come. And we all get it. We all get that moment to shine. And I was just asking myself, when the universe puts the light on me, will I be ready? Will I be prepared? Will my voice be ready? And that's what really makes me calm down and slow down.
I'm gonna go ahead and jump in here. I feel like what's important about that dilemma, that losing your own voice, I feel like the way that you prepare for that or you mitigate that is to spend enough time with yourself, is to be quiet, is to get to know yourself, get to know your fears, get to know your ambitions. There's a lot of people who live life without those answers, and frankly, nobody's going to give them to you. Like, you got to give them to yourself. And the way that you do that is by giving yourself the space to discover those, to find those. They don't come externally. Like, you can be influenced by things. A lot of times they happen subliminally. You don't even know you're being influenced by what you're consuming, what you're seeing. But you do got to give yourself the space to have those conversations, and to unveil those dreams within your mind. And I feel like what Tunji's talking about is when you get that moment and you want to seize it, you're able to do that if you know, like, this is the time, because you've already thought about it. You've already thought about, like, what if this happens? What if I do get this opportunity? What if? But if you'd never take your mind far enough to dream, to write, to journal, to think about that what if that shit hits you by surprise, you're not in a good space. If you find yourself where you're losing touch with your voice, you're losing touch with that inner confidence, it's a signal that you're lost, and you gotta stop and take that seriously. Like, do not continue moving forward, but maintain what you got to maintain to still stay in the game, but, like, be serious about taking that time for yourself, and just playing things through your mind and writing and unveiling what it is that you want to do and how you want to seize the moment.
That's powerful. And to wrap this segment up, while you all were speaking, it was a lot of alignment from how we opened this episode with your question, Tunji. We had to reflect back on the heartbreak, and sometimes when you're younger, really all the time, especially, for our listeners listening in, you might have delayed gratification, right? You might have delayed confidence. You might not find your voice until it is time for you to find your voice. And specifically, like Michael Hyatt, you pivoting into your purpose already lets you know that you're in an environment that your DNA was curated for. And it's okay to not have that heightened confidence that you might think you need, because you already have everything you need, but that confidence might be something you want. And it's okay to look outside of yourself to people who you might look up to for different reasons to find that confidence. But I just want to let our listeners know it is okay if you don't have everything you want when you first pivot into your purpose. If confidence or finding your voice is one of those, finding your voice comes with the name of the game. Maybe the voice you have now is not the voice you're going to end with in your purpose. Sometimes you have to delay that. Sometimes you have to wait so you can say exactly what needs to be said from you in your purpose. And that wraps up this segment, pivoting to purpose.
Ooh, oh man, yeah. That's what I can't pick a favorite segment. Let me not talk. but sliding into Kamau's segment, especially speaking about voice and giving a voice. Like I love Kamau's segment because it's giving a voice to the listeners in real time. So Kamau, run it.
Let's get it. So the name of my segment is How Should I Proceed? And it's a space where we create a two-way conversation between you, the listener, about what do these pivot and proceed moments look like in your life. A lot of times we talk theoretically, we talk about, other situations, things in our life, but pivot and proceed moments happen every day to people all across the world. They happen in your life, and that's probably why you get something out of the show, is because you can relate. But the importance of how should I proceed this segment is in community building. It's where we open the door for our listeners to share experiences they're going through in the spirit that it's going to help somebody else proceed when they face a similarly challenging time. So from a listener, my profession is getting pummeled. I have glowing recommendations for every job I've ever worked at. My LinkedIn is glowing, yet I can't beg for a job. Nobody responds to me. This job market is just different. I'm extremely scared right now, and I feel that it shouldn't be this hard. I graduated with a double major degree. But why didn't I learn about financial management? Why didn't I learn about taxes? Why didn't I learn about the things that are going to help me stay afloat? As I mentioned, I'm extremely scared right now. How should I proceed?
I would say my idiom, my phrase that comes to my mind is our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Right. So that's what I go to in times like this. One, I would say, I don't know if this is a man or a woman, but you're him or her. Like it's leaning on the fact that you've gotten these double degrees, you have all these glowing things, but now it's about really pivoting. Like, where can I leverage this in another area? Because my mind really goes to the practical, where I think about when I was a teacher and teaching wasn't cutting it. I knew I was supposed to be in that classroom, but money was, I was living in LA making 26,000, 28,000 a year, living in Long Beach. Boy was broke and he broke. Boy, I almost, let me not tell that story. I was about to be young Zuri, living in the traffic.
I hate y'all so much.
But no, to get back serious, I was personal training on the side, teaching group fitness classes. I had to leverage something that I didn't intend to leverage. So it's looking at these other skills, these other things you have in real time. You shouldn't have to beg for a job. You're him, you're her. Leverage one of these other skills. And if you can't create one, like lean into one. So that's really what my mind goes to. Our deepest fear is not that you are inadequate. You shouldn't have to beg, but you're going to have to create and use that fear. Be scared. Do something with it.
First word that popped in my mind when you were reading Kamau is dig. To this listener, to this writer, you got to dig. A lot of times we don't want to dig. It's too much manual labor. It's too hard. You don't want to put in any sweat at equity. And not saying that this writer is not putting in sweat equity, but you just might be digging in the wrong place. Okay. Sometimes you have to find where to dig, and you have to find your why on why you need to dig. I definitely understand this economy that we're in. Jobs are laying off left to right, front to back. But at the same time, there are a lot of resources out here. And to get in my practical bag, you have YouTube University. You have videos on social media where people make it their life's mission to create content on how to get in your bag, how to find another bag, how to start another bag. And that's another way to dig. Dig into your social media, dig into YouTube University. You have to put in that sweat equity. You almost have to be obsessive on finding a way out, on finding that right hole to dig. There are so many videos that you can just sit there, take notes, 5 minutes, 30-second content on Instagram, and you're good for the day. But make it consistent. And by the time you look up, give yourself a time frame, and you might just have your first step. Again, this is sweat equity. I'm not saying you're going to watch all these videos and you're going to have the answers, but at least you'll have that first step to get yourself out of that, kind of low mindset that you have nowhere to look. So again, to wrap this up, you got to dig. It's just find out where you're going to start digging first.
So many things come to mind. Two that stick out like sore thumbs is hold it down until you come up. Like stay down till you come up. That's one. The second one is practice non-zero days. I think the two actually go hand in hand, because what I mean by stay down till you come up is it's okay being down. It's uncomfortable being down, but it is okay being down. And one of the themes that we talked about on season 1 was when life sits you down on the couch. Like when that happens, it's an emotional thing. It's like, damn, like, how am I here? Like, why am I on this couch? Like, and it's agonizing because you don't know when you get back in the game. But you gotta be there. You gotta be present in that moment, and like don't just hate the moment, like accept the moment, accept that like I'm down, know that you're gonna come back up, because you will. Life happens in ebbs and flows. You will come back up, but you got to prepare while you're down. So you don't you got to set yourself up. So when you do get that opportunity to get up again, you don't fall down as easy. You're not at the whim of a job. You're not at the whim of the market. You're not at the whim of layoffs. Like you are not, I don't want to say self-sufficient, but you're closer to there than you're not. And that process when you're down is like stay down until you come up, and just keep that mentality, because the space that you're in requires a certain level of clear-headedness for you to just be present. The other part is practicing non-zero days, which again is kind of the practical piece, where don't let a day go by that you don't do something to prepare yourself when you get back up, or to help you get back up. Like if you're in this kind of moment where you're feeling this kind of pressure, it is not vacation time. Like it is not, I'm going outside time, I'm popping out. Like it is not that time. It's not that season. Every single day you have to do something to move the needle forward. It could be 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, but the momentum is critical right now. Like you can't afford to chill. You can't afford to relax. Like these things are important in terms of your mental health and whatnot. But at the same time, that momentum is more important than everything, because that's going to be the thing that changes the direction of your life. So stay down till you come up, practice non-zero days. And, when that opportunity strikes, let's get it.
Facts. Let's get it, because now I get to share my favorite failure. That's our third segment. Favorite failures is about just exactly what it sounds like. When have you failed? And it really, at the time, it was heartbreaking. It was everything a failure is supposed to be, in a nutshell. And it ends up being the best thing. Maybe not the best thing, but it's one of your favorite failures. It ends up being exactly what it was supposed to be. You look back on it, and I'm like, I'm grateful for that failure. And my mind goes to high school football. It was after the season. Keep in mind, I was never him in high school football. I didn't start my senior year. I was always making mistakes. I was on every special teams because I had so much leadership and charisma. They put Tunji on punt return, put Tunji on kickoff. So a lot of people that didn't know football well, they would have thought I started, because I was on every special team. So I stayed on the field, but the kid did not start in his position. So side note, I go to because you just get caught up in the culture of football. Like, what does it take to play at the secondary level? But my academics was so good that I sat in that room and I talked to my coaches, like, what would it take for me to play at the college level? I I can't even remember what he said. I just remember his demeanor. He looked at me like, come on, bro. Come on. If you don't go to school and get a degree and live your life, like stop playing with me, right? And like he said all of that in body language, and that's like one of my favorite failures because it put into context like the direction that I wanted to. I was borrowing somebody else's dream.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I was singing there when this playing college football has been everything since 5th grade. I started playing football in 9th grade and I'm like, this is fun. When other people, it's make or break, it's everything. And I look back on that moment and it gives me perspective of now I look at different moments and yes, I can love a thing, but am I willing to suffer for it? Like, is it the center? How much time am I willing to put in? And what and does it come first? So like just that moment is one of my favorite failures. I look back on it now because at the time I left that coach's office and I was like, Jesus Christ, because it hurts. Somebody doesn't even say the words. Their body language speaks more than the words. Because he gave me some type of practical advice, but his body was like, "Come on, Tunji, like don't do this to yourself. Like you can go to UGA with your grades. You can go to other places. You can't go nowhere with football. I'm gonna keep it a stack with you right now." So that's my favorite failure. Like that quote unquote hoop dream dying, and I'm me now because that wasn't my main focus. Because I was able to shift gears. I wouldn't be speaking on this mic right now if I was like, nah, F him. And I didn't take that body language, that real like, nah, set your priorities straight.
Let me pick up here because I'm gonna choose a favorite failure that's very similar. I too was on the football team my senior year, and my ass didn't get on the field not once. Like I probably got on the field maybe during the scrimmage before the season. But the favorite failure is I actually got kicked off the football team, and I remember. Tunji, you were saying something one time. I forgot when we were talking, but you were talking about how you wanted to be on the field and then you wanted to be in the band and you wanted to be like my senior year. I ran for homecoming king or Mr. Mays and I won. And in my mind, I was going to like come off after having like 2 picks that game, bunch of tackles, for the sweaty, put on the crown, walk the walk, got my chick with me, take the pictures, get back in the game, MVP level. Shout out to all my band folks because I used to be in a band. So like I thought I was gonna have it all worked out in my mind. Like I was like, I'm gonna touch everything. Like that whole night, I'm every segment of this arena, like I'm gonna be present in some way or form. I think that year I also tried out for drum major. Like it was just I was all over the place. And what I was chasing was the status positions in each of those fields. Like in a black band at a black school, drum majors are him. They're them ones. They go crazy, you know. Football team, like you're the athlete, you know, especially if you're a star. Like you got a bright future. You're hooping. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can touch you. And I felt like for me, I wanted that spotlight, but like I wasn't cut out for either. And I tried my hand at it, and I'm not mad at myself for trying my hand at it. But I feel like getting kicked off the football team was such a humbling moment for my ego. That and I, like all my friends, every time they bring up, they start dying laughing because the way that it happened. I had somebody like we were losing. I'm just gonna tell the story. We were losing. It was like an important game. It was one of our coaches. It was his birthday, and this was like a rival we're playing, and we're getting our ass blown out. I'm talking about destroyed. We're down by 40 going into halftime. I'm on the sideline. I don't be playing, so I'm taking a knee. And the quarterback at the time came out the game, and the running back coach started ripping him a new one. Like, pass the goddamn ball to my running backs. What you doing? Da, da, da. And the quarterback, who's my friend, shout out to Trey, he got so mad and he like took his helmet and threw it on the ground. He was like, "Don't fucking talk to me like that." Just go, like, it was this whole back and forth. And if you know Trey, Trey's a cool dude. He's laid back, like real play type vibe. So when he got that mad, it sent me dying laughing, you know. And I'm like cackling. And then the one coach, Coach Gaynor, who's the person I did not want to piss off. And that's what, bro came behind me, snatched up my shoulder pads. I was like, "What the hell are you laughing at, maggot?" He was like, when we get in the locker room, like, I'm fuck you up. Whatever he said, you know what I'm saying? Boy, I put my helmet back on. I kept my head down the whole rest of the half. You know what I'm saying? We get into the locker room. I'm like trying to shuffle in, like get in real quick, get in the corner, kept my helmet on. Man, it was over with for me. It was over. Like head coach started the halftime talk, and then Coach Gaynor came in. He was like, hold on, coach. Where the hell number 14 at?" Yeah, it was over.
Not even your name.
Bro, just took my shit off right then and there, and I was out. It was over with for me. I didn't even make it to the end of the game. So, funny story, right? But it was such a humbling experience for somebody who thought he was on top of the world, who thought he was on top of the school, who thought whatever. And for me, it was just like every path isn't yours to walk. Every path isn't yours to walk. And like for me to find my path and excel in it, I think was really just a moment of clarity. Funny or not, you know, it was a moment of clarity for me where it's just like, I don't gotta be good at the things that everybody else deems as cool or everybody else deems as the goal. Like, just play your position, you know, play your role. Like do what comes to you naturally, but that you kill it. You know, these other things don't come to you naturally. You can do them, but like you're not killing it. So definitely a failure. But a funny
That's
one.
a good one. That's a good one.
Y'all been having me over here dying laughing. So what you laughing at, Maggie? So I'm gonna jump in. My favorite failure this week happened 2 weeks ago. I was up 24 hours, like 24 plus hours, tired. It was my grandmother's 80th birthday party. I live in Atlanta, but I had to travel to Detroit, Michigan for this party. So I did a wraparound trip. I mean, no sleep, one day, just had to be there. And I was going to come right back to Atlanta, which I did. Man, dog tired the whole time. So I get to Michigan, have a great time, you know, spend a couple hours there, go to the party. The next morning, party ended like midnight. I'm catching my flight at 3 a.m., but I have to drive to Detroit from another part of Michigan, which is about 2 hours away. So all that time, again, dog tired, I'm exhausted. I get to the airport and my grandmother gave me a bottle of wine, like gifted me my favorite bottle of wine. Again, this is a 1-day trip, so I don't have a check-in bag. I just have a carry-on. So I knew I couldn't take it through TSA, but I still tried because, hey, let's see if they see the big bottle of wine in my backpack, right? Which they did. So I had to, you know, go back to the baggage check for Delta. I'm there. And this is when it becomes my favorite failure. As I'm waiting for an attendant, I start getting frustrated because I'm tired. Mm-hmm. I'm exhausted. I want to sit down. I want to get something to eat, and I want to go to sleep on the plane. But as I'm standing there waiting, I see one of the bag attendants who's just like on her phone. Mind you, it's like 3 a.m. She's just on her phone. My mind immediately just goes to, oh, this is her job. Like, why is she doing her job? Do you not see me standing here? So just very angry, very just flustered, right? Just out of nowhere. So we finally make eye contact and I choose to ignore her when she finally, you know, motions for me to come up. And in that instant, both of our body language changed. It shifted. It feels like she's kind of like she was in a great mood. And then when she saw me ignore her, it just shifted her energy as well. So I could tell she started kind of doing other things to make me wait longer. And that just tip of the iceberg. So she finally brings me up to the ticket counter And she actually found a way for me to have my carry-on bag fly for free, right? So then I walk again through TSA about 10 minutes down to my gate, and now I'm hungry, right? So now I go get some McDonald's, the only thing that's open. When I'm standing in the line, there is a guy who is literally cursing out this robot of machine at self-checkout. He starts punching the machine. It's a line outside of the restaurant of like maybe 30 plus people. So he has an audience. He's just punching it. He's fair skinned. So, he's bloodshot red. He stands about 6'3", huge muscles. You can tell he's the body build. And he's just punching it. I'm talking like it's a body bag. In that moment, I look at him and his demeanor, and I think about the first impression that the ticket holder just had of me being flustered, of me ignoring her. And I get a reality check in a millisecond that I do not want to look like that to people I love, to people I cherish, or to strangers. Right. And to the listeners that are tuned in right now, first impressions are so important, whether you're going into an interview for a job, or whether you're going on a first date, or whether you're just in a grocery store. Like, people are watching, right? And you always want to shine a light in any way that you can, no matter if you're flustered, no matter if you're tired. And in that moment, I just remember it's my favorite failure because I was able to learn a lesson at such a random time, 3 a.m. in the airport, that I should pay attention more of how I treat people, no matter how I feel, no matter, if I'm angry or, flustered at the moment. And it just taught me that, I say I want to inspire people. I say I want to build community. I say I want to do all these great things for tiny worlds around the nation. But when I'm tired, I can't even still be nice to someone who's just doing their job. So it makes you check yourself, and it elevated my mind so quickly. And I'm so thankful for that failure, even though that individual might not look at me the same as maybe someone I love does, but it was such a reality check. And I'm so thankful for that failure 2 weeks ago.
Ooh, that's cold.
Hey,
that's cold. And that, go
Tommy,
ahead.
To that piece, it's crazy to act crazy at the airport. And I'm gonna tell you why. I feel like people don't understand that they put you on the no-fly zone with a quickness. That will limit your, like, in the world that we live in, where opportunity could be all around the country and or the world. If you get yourself on that no-fly zone or that no-fly list, like, I feel like that is such a shot in the foot. Like, you were really damning yourself from opportunities. And people don't think that, like, they think like the airport is just a regular place. That is a federal building. Like, you cannot act out of pocket on a plane, on an airport, if you are a person who is chasing success. Like, don't do it to yourself. That's just so, it's craziness to me.
That's what's so that just glides us perfectly into glows and grows. I'm gonna do it a little bit different. I'm gonna start off with the soundtrack for my glow and grow because it's so perfect. The name of the song is "Losing My Mind" by Bahari. Right, and you think that this song, but this is one of the smoothest songs I've ever heard. Like, I legit want y'all to listen to it, the listener, but Zuri, Kamau, and I want to get your feedback on it. Because and it speaks to my glows and grows. Because to me, today, like Zuri, they are one. My glow and my grow are both the statement that, Tunji, your small habits make your entire life. Everything that's glowing in your life right now is because of your smallest habits, the consistency of them. And everything that's growing in your life or that needs to grow is because the lack of consistency of the small habits in that area. So my glow and grow are, Tunji, your small habits make your life. Play Losing My Mind by Bahari and get lost in the small actions. But that's Bahari, Beharie. I want the listeners to give that vibe. Right after you get done with the podcast, go ahead. You're probably in your car anyway. Go ahead and slide that track on. And then Zuri, Kamau, you get yours too, so they can put that in the playlist.
No, that's facts. So I'm going to do something a little different this week. If you've listened to this podcast before, you know that this is one of the hardest segments for me because it's when you look in the mirror. And this week, I don't have a grow or a glow. And I've been wrecking my brain, and I've been really trying to think of one. And I think I'm just thinking too hard. And I think that's another lesson within trying to bring something to the table. If you don't have it, you don't have it today. And that's okay. But in not having a recipe or having what you want it to have, you can always, like look forward to the next time, right? So if you're a listener now, look forward to me having one next episode. But now this state I'm in, just been in state of reflection, and it's almost like a blessing in disguise not to have a grow or glow right now. I think I've been doing a great job of reflecting and elevating when I can and with what I have. So this week I don't have a grow and glow. My soundtrack to, I guess, nothing would be a favorite song by Tusi. It's just so beautiful how it opens up. It just puts me in very serene mood, and it kind of goes perfect with me not having a grow or glow this week, because even though I don't have anything to bring to the table of maybe where I'm growing or feel like I'm glowing, I'm still my favorite person right now. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm still proud of myself. So yeah, that's my segment.
I would say my grow is to learn Spanish, like to recommit to the process, to recommit to the commitment, to recommit to like just breaking through this. I was in a barbershop, just a couple hours ago, and you have my barber who's Colombian, Afro-Colombian, doesn't speak a lick of English. You had a guy that he was cutting who was a black guy. He was probably like 6'4" basketball player, like literally had on a uniform, and no idea where he was from, probably Colombia as well. Didn't speak any English. I think my barber actually just hooked him up because I never saw bro pay my barber, but he just swept the floor. And that was kind of like his compensation. And then after, when I'm in the chair, two older men walk in, and both of them are black, and they're from Cuba. And they were like, they were talking in Spanish, and I understood some of the conversation, but the reason why this is a grow for me is because there is a community of people who look like me that are supporting one another, that are sharing experiences, they're sharing stories, they're sharing culture, and I can vibe with it, but I can't go there with them. I can't ask them the questions. I can't tell them my story. Like, and it's just that barrier, which is, it's so frustrating because I'm so curious, and I know they're so curious about me. And like the fact that bro didn't have enough money, but he's swept up and like he got taken care of. Like, it's that kind of love that I feel like I'm entitled to, like I've been through a very similar struggle as y'all. Like, yeah, I'm probably the lightest skinned cat in there, but at the same time, like I share in more ways than I don't. And yeah, it's a frustrating thing for me. And I think like while I've been glowing in a lot of other areas in my life, where I feel like I'm cooking, I feel like I neglect other areas just outright. Like I'll cook in one area, but I'll be so neglectful in another area, and it doesn't really lead to a balanced life of success. It just leads to like a one track mind. So yeah, it's been a frustrating journey. I know more than I don't know. Well, that's not true. I understand more, and I can I can get by, but I definitely still feel isolated, and it's just a lack of commitment to the desire. The glow is, I find myself via my job being able to put people in positions that like they're living their dreams. And it's so crazy to like hear that from people, where people hit me up and they're just like, I can't believe I'm doing this shit right now. Like it happened to me earlier today. Somebody texts me and they're like, thank you, thank you for like, thank y'all for believing in me. And I'm just like, that's a great feeling to be able to extend somebody that opportunity. And it's weird because what I'm doing in my job is it was not my dream. Like I didn't dream to be in this position. I wouldn't even say I'm working on like my dream work or like my life's work. But it's been such a learning experience for me. And what I've learned, my mindset is really when you're trying to build something successful, like you want to find people who are very passionate about what they do. And that to me is the X factor on who gets to be on my team. It's like, are you really passionate about what you do? Like, are you really putting your soul into this? Because if you are, then I want you on my team because I know we're going to do something special together. But it's just a surreal feeling to see people like just living in their dreams, living in their truth. Like, and what's crazy too about it is they didn't even know it was possible until the opportunity presented itself. They didn't like they find themselves in doing something that they're like, holy hell, like who knew I could get paid for this? And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't even know that was your dream, but you just are fulfilling a need that I have and that I need to fulfill as a business. So that gives me hope, even though I'm not doing my quote unquote dream work, it gives me hope to see people find opportunities that they dreamed about, and that is, dream opportunities aren't just advertised on Craigslist. They're not just on LinkedIn necessarily. Like I feel like they come because you've already been doing that work, but you've either been doing it for free or you've been training yourself or preparing. You've been thinking and thinking and thinking about it, and then it just comes. You can't predict where it's going to come from, but it's just been really awesome seeing people find that in the work that we do together. And the results speak for themselves. When you get in that dream opportunity, people are cooked, and it's been a blessing to be a part of that process. In terms of my soundtrack, it is Green to Blue, and the artist is Daniel.mp3. Green to Blue. It is a melodic soundtrack. There are no lyrics, but yeah, I think I've just learned to appreciate music that doesn't have lyrics or voice, but that really just moves you or gets you in a trance, gets you in a feeling. And this song definitely does that. I heard it on an Instagram clip and it just immediately struck me. I'm like, wow, that's some powerful music.
Yeah. Oh man. Another exceptional episode. We want to thank y'all for sharing this space with us. If no one has told you today, as always, you are loved by us. We really do cherish you as listeners, as being part of our community. And may every pivot that you have be followed by a proceed. We love y'all. Till next time.
Peace.